Bridget Bartlett here, and today I'm going to give you an overview of the Conversations tab inside of HighLevel. If you do not have a HighLevel account yet, you can go to myvisionagency.com. You can actually join our program for free as a HighLevel affiliate. If you are a beginner to software reselling or you're on the HighLevel SaaS plan already, I encourage you to join as a client so you'll get access to all of our white label software that you can resell and our done for you system, daily life coaching, and so on. Okay, so that's myvisionagency.com. All right, so inside of the high level dashboard, you'll see that we're in the contacts tab right now. And the reason I'm showing you that is because when you click inside the profile of the contact, we're actually inside the conversations tab right now. So if we go to conversations, you can see all of the new conversations. You can also see any recent ones, any starred conversations you have that are maybe marked as important, and then all of the conversations, you can see the thread here. Okay. So if I click here into this conversation, you'll see that I kind of see like the basics of the conversation without leaving my thread. So what I do every single day is I come into high level, and this is what I work out of, right? I want to respond to my most recent comments. Also, what I love to do is use the all tab, and I want to see how are my automations working? Like what is the flow happening? So I could click on test and I can scroll through here and I can see every email, every recording of a phone call, text message, any of those things, Facebook Messenger message, any of those conversations that we're having with this particular customer, I can see all of that located here in the thread. Now, if I want to actually click into this profile, I can do that here, but just on the right-hand side, you can see that I see immediately their email address, if they had a phone number on file, who they're assigned to, any tags that have been assigned to them. I can also add tags. And if you've seen any of my trainings before, you know I love to use tags to start my automations. Makes it really easy to really segment your list. So for example, if I'm talking to this test person and they're like, yeah, I want to cancel my membership, I could just click here, add the cancel tag, and then now it will trigger all of those automations to take place. Okay. Also, I can look and see what active automations is this contact in. They may be in several workflows, and maybe they said that they wanted to. Maybe the account was automatically canceled, but they said that they wanted to, to upgrade, or they wanted to, re-engage their account. I could click here and see if they're in the like delete automation, or if I want to actually add a tag to create their account, I can make sure that they're in that automations there. Also, I can choose whether I want to D&D them. I can do partial or I can do all of them. D&D meaning do not disturb. So if I don't want to send emails to them anymore, or phone calls or voicemails, this is really important when it comes to like especially your automations. If you decide maybe their phone number is invalid or their email is invalid, you can actually just block all of those conversations. It could be they're a spammer or something, and you just want to block all incoming, you can do that as well. Okay, so this is what we see here in the basic contact. Now, I only have their email here, but if I had a phone number or Facebook Messenger account, all of that connected, it would show me the different options that we have available to contact them here. All right. Now I have the same basic functions as any email sender would have, and I could just create my subject line, type in my message here. And of course, I have all of these formatting options like attaching a file, adding a link, an image, and emojis, and so on. I could also click here and you'll see that I can use any of the custom values that I have in the account. For example, if I want to say following up with, of course, I would want to spell this right. You guys know I'm a horrible speller. Following up with you, comma, and then maybe I want to use the custom value. I could just do this. So more custom value and then first name. Okay. So let's just take this and let's just add this there. Okay. So following up with you, whatever the first name is, and I could say, hey, hey there. And then again, I want to use a custom value for the first name. And what's really cool is you can create templates, I'll show you in just a second, where you can just pre-fill in all of this. So if you are typically following up and you have all of the same information that you want to send, you definitely want to create a template. But the templates that can be used here in the conversations tab are not the templates in the marketing tab. That's only for emails. Okay. So we want to create templates when we are sending here. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. All right. So up here, you'll see that we have the ability to unarchive or archive a message. We can star it for something that's important. We can mark it read or unread, and then we can also delete. You also have some filters here if you're looking for like a specific, maybe call recording or something like that. Okay. Now, also here from this screen, you'll see that we have the manual actions. So you can build these into your workflows as a manual action or a manual phone call, manual text message, and then that will actually build here. And you have the ability to choose the workflows that you want to search, and then also the assigned user that you want to search. And then, of course, if that's you, and let's say you have a bunch of manual calls, this actually acts as a power dialer. So you would see all of your manual calls or your text messages or whatever manual actions you have here. And when you click let's start, it will actually just keep pushing you through all of those phone calls. Okay. If you did want to add manual actions, let's go into the automation. I'll show you there. So let's say if I go into this booking workflow here, you can add these into any workflow. But if I did want to add a manual action at this point, I could add a manual phone call. Or I could add a manual text message. Okay, so you saw that there when I search for manual. So that's how you would add the manual call or text message. So if it's built into the workflow at whatever point they get here, it's going to create that manual action here in the conversations tab. When you click here, you'll see all of those listed. Okay. Now, here is where you want to create the template snippets for the conversations tab specifically. Okay. So you can see that you can add a text message template here or an email template. So it's really easy to add. We'll just say SMS template one. Of course, here we could use the custom values as well. So let's say we'll say, here's a text message. And I love how it builds this out for you so you can see what it'll actually look like. Also, you want to pay attention when you're creating these templates for SMS. You want to stay within the characters because remember, the SMS and phone calls and emails and all of that, those are charged as credits in the system. And you, as the agency owner, you can choose what those credits are charged. But just keep this in mind here when you're sending your templates that when you're building this out, if you don't want it to send in multiple text messages, definitely stay within these parameters here. Okay, so if I wanted to create this text message, let's say whatever their first name is, I just wanted to follow up, follow up with you regarding, and let's say I had a custom value. I could go to contact. Let's say that they filled out a field on my form that I created. So let's say that whatever that field is, the name of the registrar, I could actually fill that in and say, Bob, I just wanted to follow up with you regarding, and then it will actually put in whatever they filled out on that form. Okay. So let's just say, for the sake of just this training and making it simple, regarding the demo meeting we had, or something like that, right? And of course, I could add my signature there if I want to, and I could even attach a file if I want to here or through a link. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save that now. And of course, if I wanted to test it, I could do that here. Okay, just add in a mobile number and test it, and you can make sure that it's just one text message and that you like what it actually looks like. Okay, so if I wanted to create an email template now, of course, let's just do email template. And we could have the subject line, hey, hey, whatever the first name is. We could use custom values here. Let's just copy this, put it in the subject line. Okay. And let's just say I just wanted to follow up with you. Okay. And of course, I could add whatever custom values that I wanted to. I could even add, and you'll see here, trigger links. Okay, so trigger links, I'm going to go over in just a second, but trigger links are links that you can create. And you can see in this demo account, I have 5 of them. And based on the action, you can have them click the link and you can trigger additional automation. So this is really great if you have like the Zoom link, for example. I like to use a Zoom link. If you're using the same one, you can create a trigger link and then you can send your Zoom link to your, your meeting, your clients or whatever. And then you can trigger automations based on the link when they click it. Okay. So one of the things I like to do is if I'm using that link, when they click that, it will mark the calendar meeting as showed, because I know at that point they actually showed up in the meeting. So just some examples of how you could use that. And if we wanted to, we could actually just build that in here in the email. Okay. So whatever we decided to use in that trigger link that we've created, it's kind of like a custom value for links. Whatever we decided to put in there, it will auto fill here. And then of course, this link, because it's a trigger link, it will have actions attached to it, or it could rather. Okay, so let's just go ahead and save here. And if we go back to the conversations tab, you'll see if I'm having this conversation here with test, I can go right here to insert snippets and you'll see that I have the email snippet. Now, you'll see also that I don't have that SMS snippet that we created. And that is because we don't have a phone number attached to this. So it won't allow us to use that. Okay. Now, if I want to go inside of the contact here, you can see that I have a lot more information. This is inside of their profile. Okay, so if I go back here, you'll see test. And then if I go to contacts, I can look up test here as well. All of this is taking me back to the same place. Okay, so let's click in here. You can see now I'm in test profile, and all of the, I can see all of the conversations that we've had. I can see all of the different fields that we have available here. If I've created any custom fields, they will be in here as well. I can also see all of the tags. I can see the automations. I can see any opportunities that they're in. I can also see any offers that we have available that we've given them access to. So offers would be like inside the membership area. So let me take you there. I want to actually show you where these things are located, because I think sometimes there's so many options that it gets a little bit overwhelming. Like, okay, how do I get back there to that? Okay. So you'll see in the membership area that we have products, and then you can create offers, and the offers will contain whatever products that you want to give them access to. So everyone's logging into the same place, but based on whatever offer you've granted them access to, that will determine whatever products or modules or courses that you have available inside of your membership area. So if I wanted to manually give access to Jane Doe here to that offer, what I can do is just come down here and I can select that offer. And then as long as I have my email toggled on, Jane Doe will receive this welcome email with the login credentials. Okay. And when I say the email toggled on, you want to go to membership area and you want to go to settings, and you will see inside of the settings, click here again, you'll see domain setup, or I'm sorry, rather, you will see emails. Let's go at permissions. No, it is branding. Okay, so this account has switched over to the new one. So you'll want to make sure that to have your domain connected, you'll want to make sure that you have completed the setup in your client portal, and then you'll be able to that will, when you grant access to the course, if it's set up in the client portal, and you'll see app permissions, you want to make sure your courses are selected there, because inside the client portal, it's just like I was saying about the membership areas. It's they're all getting access to the same link, but according to whatever you have granted them access to, they will have access when they log in. So if you want communities and your affiliate program and the courses all to be available inside of your client portal, you want to make sure to check all of those and save. And then if I was wanting to give Jane Doe access to that course, same thing, I would just come down here and then say access to the onboarding. Okay. I could also go into my client dashboard. So let's go to memberships and go to communities. I could go inside of the community and give access. I could also go, let's go into sites, go to the client portal, go to the dashboard, and I could also send the login credentials by searching for the member's name, and then I can just send login credentials. I can also invite them to the client portal manually, and I can generate a magic link, which all they'll have to do is click there, and then they're automatically logged in. Okay. So that was a long way around the conversations tab, but I just wanted to explain to you, really help you get a good overview of why the conversations tab is so amazing because you can access basically everything about this profile here inside, or everything about this client here inside the profile. All right, so you'll see over here on the right hand side that we have the activity. So here we can actually track every page, every form, every order that's ever been submitted. We can track with this contact here. Okay, so that is incredibly helpful, especially when you are trying to troubleshoot. And let's say Jane Doe contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm on this page and I don't know what plan to choose." Okay, if you have many plans and pages and options, you definitely want to know what page were they on so that you could help them, without saying, "Well, I don't know, which page are you on?" This is incredibly helpful in having those conversations. You also can see any of the tasks that you have created here. You can easily assign tasks, and I use this a lot. You can build this into your automations as just a step in the workflow to create a task, or you can manually create the task. So if I'm talking to someone and they're like, "Hey, I wanted to cancel my account and I want to make a note of to cancel that day," I can say cancel account. I can put a description of why we're canceling. I can assign it to a member, let's say demo user one, and then I can choose a date that we want to cancel. So I can just say 8 a.m. and then save. Let me put some info here. Cancel. Okay, so now you'll see that I have this task assigned here. I can also see this task if I click in here. And you could also, if you have the task built into your dashboard, you'll be able to see the task there as well, which is also something that I do so that I can track um, all of my tasks that I have. I like to add that to the dashboard. Okay, so let's go back to the conversations tab here, and let's click into this profile again. And you'll see over here, after the tasks, we have the notes. And again, notes are something that are very, very helpful. If maybe you're talking to a client and they give you, information that you want to add here, or maybe you've given them a special offer. I can say offered a 20% discount or something, discount. And of course, I want to remember that because if the client comes back to me or they're talking to my team member, I guess, yeah, I can't spell, or they're talking to my team member and they're like, "Yeah, Bridget said she'd give me a 20% discount." I definitely want my team member to go in here and see, yes, Bridget did add a note here on this date and offered a 20% discount. Okay. So that's again, especially with communication with your team, you want to make sure that everything is accounted for. Now, also in workflows, I love to add a note there. So let's just go to the workflow and I'll show you if I wanted to use the same option here. I could just click here and then add a note. And that way I know when this person came through my no showed workflow and they got to this point in the workflow, I can say, no showed. Okay. Now, of course, I can add tags and things like that. I can add, different tasks or whatever to create this manually. But what I really want is just documentation of the different steps in my workflow. That's by far my favorite way of using notes. I want to know if someone came through this workflow as my no showed and we updated the appointment status. I want to know that they didn't show on this date. Maybe they didn't show multiple times. Maybe they've never showed before, whatever. I want to know when they got to that point, that they no showed, for example. All right, so let's go back here. Again, into our conversations tab. Let's go into the profile. And then, of course, we have documents. Okay, or before we get to documents, we have appointments. Okay, so if I'm talking to someone and they want to manually book an appointment, I can just click here and then it will go off. I can choose the calendar I want to book them on. I can choose the appointment title and the day and time. Let's say that it's a time that is not fit into my availability. It's just something that I am offering this particular person. I can actually choose custom them, and then I can create whatever start and end time I want to. I can also choose the calendar or create do like a custom here. Okay. Now, once I do that, of course, I'll see their appointment is booked here. I can also see if they already have an appointment booked. So maybe I don't want to rebook an appointment. I want to see, do they have an appointment coming up? And then I can easily say, oh, yeah, Jane Doe, I see you have an appointment with Daniel, and he'll be able to assist you with this. And then I can make a note maybe here that, this person called, and Daniel, make sure to, give her a 20% discount. Okay. Now here is really cool because we can actually, if they fill out a form and we ask them to submit documentation, which is really good for onboarding. If you wanted to ask for their logo, those documents would be here. And then, of course, you can download them here. It just opens up as a new folder. Okay. You can also choose to preview or download here. And if you wanted to manually upload the documents, you can do that there. Now you can also check the transactions here. So you can see, maybe someone messages you and they're like, hey, I signed up, but I never got a, confirmation, or I never got a receipt. Then you can look here and see if any of the transactions actually went through, or maybe it says error, or, maybe you had your funnel and test or something like that. You'll be able to see all of the transactions here. Okay. So that's really helpful as well. So up here, we already talked about bulk actions, but if you see smart lists are really, actually, that's not even in the conversation. Let's go up here. Trigger links. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Let's go to the trigger links. All right. Now, this is not to be confused with triggers and campaigns that are built into the workflow. Okay. Used to be that we had triggers, which let me just explain to you here. Triggers would be inside of the workflow, and that is a trigger. Okay. This is a trigger. This is going to basically, whatever we tell this to happen here, that's going to make this workflow start working. Okay. So that's not the same as a trigger link. Okay. A trigger link is what you're going to put inside of your text messages or your emails, and it's going to trigger an action based on that. So, for example, if I have, let's say this is my trigger link. Okay. Or let's say it's the Zoom. All right. So all I need to do is just give it a name so I know what it is. And then I can add whatever link I want to add there. So when I'm building out my templates, or any of my, for example, the SMS or the email templates, I can add that trigger link there. So let me show you. You can add the trigger link like I showed you here. Okay, so you could choose any of those and it'll just put in basically that custom value. Now, if someone clicks that, we want it to trigger an automation. It's not going to if you just create it as a trigger link, right? If I just go here and then I just add this into my email, nothing's going to happen. I actually have to build a workflow that's going to tell it to trigger something. So again, I would go back to my automations. I would go inside of, obviously I would build like a separate workflow, but I would choose the trigger here. And then you'll see if I type in trigger, you'll see trigger link clicked. And then I can choose which trigger link I want to add to trigger this automation. Okay. So if I chose, we were talking about the Zoom link. So now I've added the trigger link as a trigger for this automation. So now in this particular automation, anytime someone clicks that Zoom trigger link, it's going to update their appointment and it's going to send them an email. Now, obviously, that would be kind of weird, but you get the point of trigger links, right? So let me go ahead and save that. So what's really cool too, let's go back into the conversations tab and we go to trigger links. You can actually check out all the analytics. So how many times were those links clicked? You can tell all of that here. Okay, so let's go back into conversations now and let's go ahead and click in here. You will see up here we have the bulk actions. You also have and we just talked about that before. You also have restore. So if you ever like delete a contact by mistake, you can also come in here and just restore it. Okay, you can see really easy to restore. You also can check out all of your contacts here. We also have company. Now, company is going to be basically your SaaS accounts that you have inside of your agency. Okay, you can also add a new company here if you want to. And then that's going to tie to the context. So let's go into the conversations tab. And if I wanted to click here, like let's go back here. go click into the profile and let's go to company and let's just create a company. So we're going to call this test. And we don't, it looks like that's the only thing that we really need to have. So let's add company. Okay, so now we have test company. So if we go back to our conversations tab into Jane Doe's profile, let's click in here and let's go to company. And now you can see that we can actually add Jane Doe's company to the profile. Okay, so that's how you can do all of that. All right, so we have the company. Now we have Smart Lists. Smart Lists is a super, super great way of automating or segmenting your list, rather. You can create a smart list easily by selecting all of your contacts here, and we'll talk more about this in another training. But if I wanted to create, let's say, here are all of my contacts. Let's say that I wanted to create a list of all the people that have this tag active. Okay. Of course, I could choose multiple if I wanted to, but let's say they have an active tag. Oops, I didn't save that here. Okay. So we'll apply. Okay, so we have one criteria. All right, so no one is selected that has the active tag. Now let's choose something that actually is selected. Let's see what these contacts have here. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so we'll say newsletter. All right, so I'm going to choose, let's say they have the tag is newsletter. Okay, and apply. Now I can say, or I could say newsletter tag and maybe something else. Maybe they have a specific address or a birth date or a Facebook ID or a city, or they have responded to a campaign, or they're in an active workflow, or they're a specific age, pipeline stage, status, they have access to an offer. You can see all of this different criteria that I can build in to create a very specific list of very specific people. And once I choose all that criteria, you can see here, I just chose they all have the newsletter tag. Now I have this special list here that I can save. We save as smart list. And I already have one called newsletter in this account. So I'm going to say newsletter 2 and save. Now you'll see that all of the contacts that had that newsletter tag that met the criteria that we set are now here in this smart list. Okay, so if you did want to manage the smart list, of course, like let's say if I wanted to delete that or if I wanted to edit that, I could click here. I could also choose what permissions I could copy, of course. I could also choose what permissions I want this list to have. Okay, so for example, if you go to shared by you, let's go. Yeah. So you have this option here. Sorry. Okay. So you can share this list here. You can choose to share with all of the users or a specific user here and this is inside of your account, the users inside of your sub account here. Okay. So you guys, I hope you can see really the conversations tab is so amazing. It is absolutely by far the #1 place that I literally work out of every single day because of all the reasons that I just showed you. It just makes it really easy. I can automate a lot of these conversations, but also a very important part is I also want to check this all tab frequently because I want to make sure that the automations and everything that I have planned to go out are making sense, that no one is, lacking support. This is a great way of just double checking everything that's happening inside of your account. Okay. So again, if you guys are not members of our program yet, go to myvisionagency.com. If you're a beginner marketer, SaaS reseller, or you are a high-level SaaS customer already, you can join as a client. And if you are not a HighLevel member yet, you can click here and you can also join our program for free. So thank you all so, so much for joining me. And I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. For joining us for today's training. If you have any questions, you can join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. It's free and open to everyone. So I'll see you there.